Hello, welcome to Module 5, Stages of Weight Loss. Now, I think there are 4 stages of weight loss, and you're going to be in one of these categories at the moment. So the first one is that you are already successfully losing weight, in which case, fantastic, well done, keep doing what you're doing. The second one is that your weight is currently stable, which is good. But if you're not particularly comfortable with that and you would like to lose a bit, then you just need to take a few actions and a few tweaks, just to make sure that you're starting to tip the equation that we looked at the beginning, so that you've got more calories going out than you've got coming in. So what little tweaks can you make just to start to move in that direction in a healthy way? The third stage of weight loss is that your weight is currently increasing. So what you need to do is to think about how can you gain control of this? How can you stop that increase so that you get to a point where your weight is stable and then start heading downhill, as it were. And the fourth one is if you're stuck in the binge starve cycle, which is the one I used to be in when I was much younger. So the first thing you need to do is just to gain control of that, just to even out so that you are eating consistently, regularly through the day, but without losing control and going off into a binge, and without feeling the need to cut back so much that you feel hungry and starved. By the way, around hunger, nothing wrong with a little bit of hunger. We need to give our digestive systems a rest. But if your overall eating plan means you feel hungry all the time, please change it to something that stops that, because you're not going to be able to sustain that. Okay? Whichever of those stages are, I would actively encourage you to exercise. I have worked with so many people, and even now, you just need to look at Instagram, where people are posting the sort of the before picture and the after picture, and it doesn't even look like the same person. They're almost always in gym clothes, or showing themselves in the gym lifting weights or running or doing whatever they're doing. I can't stress enough how much exercise will help you. You don't have to go to the gym if you don't enjoy that. You could go dancing. We've already talked about that. I think on the handouts there's a whole list of activities that you could try for things that you might enjoy, that will help you just to get your heart rate up a little bit, burn those extra few calories, tone up, and really sort of start to sculpt yourself as you're on your way to your journey to slim. So whichever stage you're at, I would encourage you to either start exercising if you're not already, or if there's something you can do with your exercise plan, just to do a little bit more, but in a way that's enjoyable. If it's a chore, you won't stick with it. So find something that's fun, find something that you enjoy, and try different things until you find that. Okay? So if ultimately your goal is to be eating healthily and having daily exercise, break this down into milestones. So we've got the overall goal that we set earlier on in the course. I think it was module 2. That might be quite a big task. It might not be, but it might be. So this is where we need to break it down into milestones. So generally speaking, people sort of look at a week at a time, don't they? If you were going to a slimming club, as I used to run, you would come once a week, you'd be weighed, you'd have your sort of diet reassessed, and you would be given a bit of motivation and sent on your way again. And that might well work for you. Or it might be, if you're going through a particularly challenging time, it's almost day by day, even hour by hour. Ultimately, all we can control is the present moment that we're in. So we can plan for the future, we can learn from the past, but we can't do anything about those. All we can do is make decisions in this moment that are going to help us and be healthy for us. So break down what you need to do into those milestones. So I talked about the goal of running a marathon. If you don't run at the moment, maybe just going for a 10-minute walk around the block will be your starting point, and then maybe you'll push that to see, well, let me see how many steps I can run before I'm too out of breath, and building it up from there. So what's the first milestone? In that example, maybe your first goal might be you want to get to the point where you can run for 5 minutes. What's your first goal? By breaking it into little mini milestones, firstly you make it easier, because you're not looking so far into the future, you're just looking to what the next step is. But then when you get there and you feel really great because you've achieved that, it's going to motivate you to want to do more. It's going to motivate you to want to go to the next step. And also with something like that, I mean, there's the Couch to 5K run that you can do. There's park runs that you can do, which are incredibly supportive. So if running was something that interested you, you know, get in with like-minded people. Go and mix with people who have got the same goals of you, who are going to encourage you, who, you know, they're going to be cheering you on. That helps so much. Having that supportive network helps so much. And incidentally, that's why slimming clubs used to work, because people, you know, they were talking to people, they were sharing ideas, they were sharing successes. That still exists, but I think now it happens a lot more online. So, you know, I'm old-fashioned. I'd rather be out there talking to people and working with people and helping people. So, you know, do keep that in mind. But the point I'm making here, instead of just trying to deal with the whole goal all in one, break it down. What's the next step? What's the next little step that you're going to set yourself as a target? How long is it going to take you to get there? And then build on that when you get there. So as I've already said, if your eating or your weight are currently out of control, your first milestone is to regain control. If you're looking at the whole, oh my goodness, I need to lose 5 stone, probably that's going to seem a bit overwhelming. So just think about what's the first thing you need to do. The first thing you need to do in that example is to regain control. Okay? Once you've done that, then you can tweak it. I think most people are familiar with the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your results come from 20% of the causes. So 80% of the things we do are kind of more trivial, and 20% are vital for success. So using what you've learned on the wheel of life, using what you know already from your past experiences, figure out what the key areas are that need your attention. So maybe for a long time, my problem time was when I came home at the end of the day and I just wanted to sit down and rest for 10 minutes. Nothing wrong with that. But I'd have a drink and I'd have some crisps. For some time I was having a glass of wine, and of course then things become less important after you've had a drink. So now what I do, because that bit of eating for me tends to be a bit mindless, what I do is I prepare some carrot and celery sticks before I go out. So then when I come in and I just want to sit and flop for 10 minutes and just mindlessly put food in my mouth, the food I'm putting in is carrot and celery sticks. So I'm actually getting 2 of my 5 a day. I'm not really thinking about it because it's mindless eating. So that was a tweak that made a big difference for me, because it was using the 80-20 rule. So have a think about, for you, what is it you need to tweak? What are the important, what are the game changers, let's call it that, for you? Pause the video and write them down now while you think about it. Okay, good, well done. You're doing really well. So to summarize this module, I would say just think one step at a time. Set yourself a little mini target, achieve it, learn and consolidate, reward it, and then move on to the next one. So rather than thinking of your journey to slim as one big challenge, think about, where am I now? What's the next step? What reward will I give myself when I get to that step? And then you can sort of reset. You know, there's nothing wrong with planning for the long term now, but because you're going to learn so much as you go along, you need that consolidation, that pause, just to think and rethink and sort of reset on the way, so that, you know, you can lose things that aren't working for you when you can learn and include more things that are working for you. Okay, so that's the end of this session. The next session we've got is how to think like a thin person. I'll see you there.